Hello everyone, and we're back to Kingdom Kids for another week. So whether you're big or small and you're watching today, I hope you enjoy what we have for you. Now, first of all, I have a big word for you. I wonder, can you say this word? It is a big one. Maybe some of the older boys and girls will be able to say it. So the word is consequences. Now that is a big word, and I'm sure it's a hard word for some of the younger ones to understand. So to try and explain, I'm going to play a little game, which is called the what if game. Okay, so first thing is, what if you never cleaned your teeth? So what would happen if you never cleaned your teeth morning and night? Well, I think that you might have to go to the dentist for a filling. Your teeth would feel all furry and fuzzy and wouldn't feel very nice. Then what if you were to smile at everyone you were to meet today? I think the result of that would be that people might smile back at you. And I think also that you would feel nice within yourself that you had smiled, because I think that would make you feel happy too. What if you were to walk around all day with your eyes closed? I think that's an easy one for you to work out. You would be bumping into everything, you'd be falling over, and you might end up having to go to hospital, which wouldn't be good. And finally, what if you did some exercise every day, whether outside playing, going for a little run, whatever you decided to do? What would the end result of that be? That would mean you would be nice and fit and healthy, and you'd be looking after your body. So all those what ifs, the results of them are the consequences. So that maybe helps to explain that a little bit. Now, last week, you heard the story of creation. So we're going to go on with that story this week. And I've got some pictures to help you to help to tell the story. So first of all, we have Adam and Eve in this beautiful garden that God gave them. Oh, it was such a beautiful place. In fact, you could say it was just perfect. And Adam and Eve had no worries. God looked after them. They had a lovely relationship with God. God visited with them every day. And God had given them just one rule. And that rule was there was one tree in this great big garden which had trees and bushes and all sorts of things. One tree that they were not to eat the fruit of. But they could have everything else. So anyway, one day a snake came to Eve. And this was a sly snake. And he spoke to Eve and he said, Eve, did God tell you that there was a tree in the garden that you weren't allowed to eat from? And Eve said, well, yes, there is a tree that we are not to eat from because we'll die if we eat from it. And the snake said, no, you won't die. If you eat the fruit from that tree, that means that you will be as clever as God is. So now Eve had a choice to make. She had to decide whether she was just going to trust God and all the wonderful things that God had given to her and Adam in the garden, or was she going to choose to disobey God and eat the fruit of this tree? Now she thought, well, it might be good to be as clever as God. And actually, the fruit really looks delicious. So what did she do? She took a piece of fruit and she ate it. Even though God had forbidden it, she didn't trust God. And that was the choice that she made. Then she showed this fruit to Adam and she said to him, oh, this fruit was just so delicious. Now Adam also had a choice to make. Would he decide to eat the fruit of the tree or would he trust God? But he decided to eat the fruit as well. Now the consequence of that was Adam and Eve immediately realized that they had done wrong. They felt really sad and scared because of what they had done, and they tried to hide from God. what they had done, the wrong thing that they had done, had broken their relationship with God, that wonderful relationship they had. And the consequence of that was they had to leave the beautiful garden that they had been living in. And life was no longer the same. If you even look at the picture of them there, they're not very happy looking. And even between themselves, their relationship wasn't the same either. They got angry with each other. They got cross. Now they had to work hard to grow their food. And they had to look after all the animals that God had created. And it even passed down to their children. So they had 2 sons, and these sons argued and fought with each other. And one son, who was called Cain, he killed his brother because he was jealous of his brother's offering to God. So the relationship between God and his people was broken. But God still loved the people he had created, and he had a plan to rescue them.
Morning, boys and girls. We're going to do the memory verse again. And you can remember, does anyone remember where it was from? What book in the Bible it was? It was 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 9. And our task last week was to be kind to one another. How many of us was kind? Hands up, anybody who was kind. Did anybody share their sweets last week with anybody? Or when they were in school, were they kind to somebody else? That's good. Well, sure, we'll do the memory first again, and we're going to do it in Makaton sign again. So see who remembered it. I'd see if I remembered it even. Okay, we'll do the first once before we do the signs. And with 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 9. Even before time began, God planned for Christ Jesus to show kindness to us. So we'll do it in sign this time. Okay, so it's even before time began, God planned for Christ Jesus to show kindness to us. Okay? One more time. Even before time began, God planned for Christ Jesus to show kindness to us all. That's great. So you can practice that and we'll come back sometime again. Okay, bye-bye.
God planned for Christ Jesus to show kindness to us. Timothy 2 chapter 1 verse 9.
Oh, hello there. I wonder, can you guess which Bible character I am today? So I'm going to give you 3 clues and see if you can work out who it is. Okay, so the first clue is I've done a lot of building work in my time. And the second clue is I've also seen a lot of rain. I wonder, have you got it yet? I'm sure some of you have. And the last clue, which maybe will give it away to you, is my name has 4 letters. So do you know who it is? Yes, I'm sure you've got it right. It's Noah. So I want to tell you a little bit about myself. So first, the most important thing about me is that I love and trust God. That's the most important thing about me. Now, as well as that, I'm married, and I have 3 sons who are called Shem, Ham and Japheth, and they're married too. And I'm over 600 years old. So I think I'm looking quite well on it, don't you? Okay, so as I said, I love and trust God, and one day God spoke to me and said he wanted me to build an ark. Now, an ark is a great big boat. I did think this was a really strange thing for him to say because there was no sea anywhere near us, and the place where I lived was very hot and there was very little rain usually. But God went on to tell me that he was going to send a big flood that was going to cover the earth. Now, I had a choice to make. I had to decide, was I going to trust God and do what he said, even though it seemed very strange? or would I not? Now, where I lived at that time, the world was very wicked. There was a lot of people doing wrong things, and they certainly didn't love and trust God like I did. So you know what? I got my tools out, I got my measuring tape, I got my hammer, I got my nails, and I got my wood, and I started building. Now, God told me exactly how to build this ark. He told me what kind of wood to use. He told me how long it should be, how high it should be, and how wide it should be. And he actually told me how I was to do the inside of it, because, you know, I was to bring a pair of every type of animal into the ark with me. Can you imagine the smell and the noise that was going to be? So anyway, I got building, and it took me the longest time to build this ark. Now, as you can imagine, the people round about were saying, "Noah, what on earth are you doing building a boat? There's no water." But I tried to explain to them that God was going to send a flood, and that they needed to turn to God, and that they needed to trust God. But they just laughed at me and said, "Not at all, Noah, you're off your rocker." And they laughed at me and they told me I was a fool, but I just kept on working. And eventually, after a long time, I got the ark all built. So then God said, "Now, Noah, it's time to bring all these animals into the ark with you." So we got the pairs of animals and we brought them all in 2 by 2 into the ark. Myself, my wife, my sons and their wives, they all came into the ark as well. And then the ark door was closed. Now, for 7 days, nothing happened. There was no rain. But then the rain came, and you know, it rained and it rained and it rained. You know that saying, it raining cats and dogs? Well, that's what it was like. It was shocking. I've never seen the like of it. And the water level started to get higher. First of all, it got to the height of the houses. Then it got to the height of the trees. And then it got to the height of the mountains. And soon you could see nothing but water. And we had to stay in that boat for the longest time. But eventually, the rain stopped. And obviously, we couldn't just straight away get out of the ark, because there was still flooding everywhere. But then the water started to go down. And we decided we'd send out a bird to see if it could land somewhere. So we sent out a bird, and it came straight back. So obviously, there was nowhere for it to perch and land. So about a week later, we sent out another bird. And this time, it brought back a leaf of a tree. So we knew the trees were uncovered and the water level was going down. And then the third time we sent out a bird, it didn't come back. So we knew then it was safe to come out of the ark. So we came out of the ark, and the first thing we did was we thanked God for rescuing us, for saving us. And God then gave us a sign to say that he would never again flood the whole earth, and he put a beautiful rainbow in the sky.
Do you ever feel like Noah, saying, "Is this really God?" When people all around you think that you seem really odd. Lift your eyes to heaven and take one step at a time. Get these words inside your head and say them line by line. I am safe within the ark. I am safe within the ark. I don't care if I see them laughing at me. I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. So have you ever felt like Noah when his boat was nearly done? He heard his neighbors laugh at him. Oh, when will this rain come? Lift your eyes to heaven and take one step at a time. Get these words inside your head and say them line floods, they come up. He will never let me down. Came the rain, it came down, but my God won't make me drown. As the floods, they come up, and I can see a rainbow coming up over me. Because I need to see, I know that God's with me. I can see a rainbow coming up over me. Because I need to see, I know that God's with me. I am safe within the ark. I am safe within the ark. And I don't care if I see them laughing at me. I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. Meant to be. I can see a rainbow coming up over me. Because I need to see, I know that God's with me. I can see a rainbow coming up over me. Because I need to see, I know that God's with me.
Now, boys and girls, that's us nearly at the end of Kingdom Kids for another week. So we'll just do a wee recap. First of all, our story of Adam and Eve. They made bad choices. And the consequence of their bad choice was that they had to leave the beautiful garden they were living in, and their relationship with God was broken. Then there was Noah, who trusted God, and he did what God told him to do. And the result of that was that God rescued and saved him. Now, because of the wrong things that we do, our relationship with God is broken. So here we are, and here's God, and a gap in between. But God had a plan to rescue us, and his plan was to send Jesus to die on the cross so that our relationship with God could be mended. But you know, boys and girls, we have a choice to make. We have to choose to ask Jesus into our hearts so that that relationship is mended. Now, I've done that, and it was the best thing I ever did. I hope you'll do that too. Now, here we have our jigsaw. So last week we had God is our creator, and this week God is our rescuer. I wonder what next week's jigsaw piece will be. So we're just going to finish off with a little prayer. So let's all close our eyes and we'll talk to God. Dear God, thank you that you sent your son Jesus to rescue us. Thank you that you had a plan. You made us and you love us and you want us to have a relationship with you. We thank you for that, and we ask this in your name. Amen.